Thank you so much, Alec. Thank you so much, Alec. Good evening, Elevate Youth. Always so good to see you guys. I think I'm starting to know names and faces. That's super exciting. Welcome back. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name is Chef Tamika, and I'm always excited to work with you guys on a new recipe. For many folks, you've been with us for almost a year now, so I feel like we've advanced. We're doing 2 recipes tonight. Again, take your own time. If you want just one, that's okay. I'll show you how to do both recipes. The grits is really the one we're gonna pay attention to today, but also show you how to do a roasted vegetable tray. I think what's super important tonight is that we are in Black History Month. We're actually in 2 different holidays. So it's Lunar New Year's. So if you're Asian American, it's Lunar New Year's on February 1st, but also African American or Black History Month here in the US. And because of that, we thought we should do grits. Now raise your hand or show a thumbs up if you've had grits before. Oh, lovely, perfect. So you guys are seasoned. I am newer to grits. I've only been having grits for the last few years or so, but I absolutely love them. So grits came to our tables from the Native Americans. So those folks who were here long before many of us, and then mostly Black Americans in the south of this country, Atlanta, South Carolina, North Carolina, they're the ones who really made grits super yummy and super popular. The state of South Carolina made grits their national or their statewide dish. It's so yummy for them. So let's do 2 things. For those folks who have their grits ready to go, remember mise en place, so having everything in place. An organized chef is an amazing chef. I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I have ready for the grits. And then after the grits is on, we'll go into our roasted veggies. How does that sound? Thumbs up? Okay, perfect. So you should have, according to your recipe, a 1/2 cup of grits. Just have your salt nearby. And then it's super, super important for this recipe that you measured your liquid, your water. So it's 2.5 cups. So you could use some older jars, like tomato jars or so, they have measuring instruments on them. You could use a measuring cup, but you want 2.5 cups for a 1/2 cup. Grits is grounded corn that's been boiled, at some point, but we're trying to regenerate or make them like larger. So we need more water to grits to really rehydrate them. So once you have that ready and a saucepan, so I'm using a smaller 2 parts saucepan, and that's all you pretty much need, except for at some point we'll be whisking grits to get all the starches going. So I have a whisk. If you don't have a whisk, you could use
excuse me. Sorry.
2.5 cups for what?
2.5 cups for what?
Can you put your question in the chat? We're having a hard time hearing you. Evie, can you?
Evie, can you type your question?
2.5 cups for what?
Type it in.
So on your recipe, you would have 2.5 cups of water. And then you should have your salt nearby, 1/2 cup of grits. If you want to make more grits, say you have a larger family or you have more people or more friends, you can do an entire cup and you can just do 4 cups of water. So the recipe has 2.5 cups, 1/2 cup grits, and then you want to have some salt nearby and also some butter. Saucepan, we're about to turn our flame on. And the instructions here is to get our water boiling and then to add our grits. So that will buy us some time to prep our veggies. So your water goes into your pan, you put a lid on it, and I'd say medium to high-ish. If you have numbers of 1 through 10 on your stove, I'd say maybe a 6 or 7. Again, everybody's stove is different. Mine goes pretty quickly. So you want to have like a medium flame to get to that really that boiling factor. Do we have thumbs up on that? All right, so putting our water on to boil and we can move on to our veggies. Now, again, we're moving into more advanced because you guys have been with us for some time. For those who are new don't worry, you have this. Keep an eye and an ear out for your water. When it starts to bubble, that's when you'll need to pay attention. Can we do that? Thumbs up. You do nothing with the grits just yet. Just your water in your pan and your flame on. Your grits should still be measured and on your countertop.
Crazy.
Not yet. Great question.
Kennedy, go ahead with your question.
Will we need to preheat the oven for roasted veggies?
Where we are next, Katie, thank you so much. So now we have our grits water on. Our next step is to get your oven and have an adult help you with this to 400 degrees.
Can I at least say hi to Evie? No, in private. No.
So 400 is the number we're looking for. And again, we're taking things in step. So your water is on, that's gonna start boiling. While that's coming up, we're gonna turn our oven on to 400. Mine's already on. I'll walk you through prepping the veggies, and then by the time we're done, you should hear your oven. If that's the kind of oven you have, it will tell you when it's ready.
Do I
So we
put
have-
the water?
Israel, do you want to go ahead?
Do I put the water in the pan?
Yes.
Okay.
So you should have a saucepan with just water in it for now.
Okay.
Excellent.
Does it have the fire on or not?
Yes. So I'll
Okay.
repeat my steps. So water, 2.5 cups of water in your saucepan on your flame, and it goes up to between 7 or 8, 6 or 7 or 8, medium. So not too big, not too wild, just enough flame to get that boiling. That's step number 1, getting our grits ready. Step number 2 for a different recipe, because you guys are so awesome. We're doing 2 things tonight. If you can do 2 things, right? Only if you can do both things at the same time. You turn your oven on to 400 degrees. To 400, and always ask an adult to turn your oven on for you.
Do I put it to bake or brew?
Great question. Bake.
Bake? Okay.
Yes. Great question. And one day we'll talk about bake versus roasting versus broiling versus convection. So great question.
What do I have to put it on?
400, 400. So while you're doing that, you guys did an amazing box this week. And I had some of the veggies from your box at my house. I also got some extra veggies. And now roasted veggies is one of those things you can make and just have in your refrigerator. You can have it as a side item. I love to have it. But you know, every veggie, just like every human, we're all different and all special, right? No 2 veggies are alike. So my beet is super round, it's super heavy. Maybe you have small ones, maybe you have big ones, but every veggie is different. Let's walk through the veggies that you may have in your box. And I'll also walk you through the ones I have. So you have beets ready? Bright red beets, makes an amazing drink, great for salads, great for roasting, gives lots of antioxidants, like super, super, super yummy. Right. Again, if you're only watching this recipe, that's okay. If you already started to prep the beets, then we can do it together. Is that fair? It's okay just to watch, and then you can do it after class. Okay? So I'm going to show you a few things when it comes down to prepping your veggies. So my beet is a round vegetable, and it's kind of hard to work with a round vegetable, right? It's like rolling around, it's going away from me. So the first thing I did was to peel it. I removed the skin. No, I can't find my peeler. Remove the skin. And then I'm trying to remove the ends in order to get a flat surface. Again, always ask an adult to help you with the knife. So I cut the bottoms off and now it's flat. See? Makes it more easy to work with. And I want to make sure that I cut my beets down. So it's like bite size, or it's good enough to eat. So I go into half, so 2 halves. And then what shape do you think we should do? Circles, half a moons, wedges? What do you guys think? Wedges. All right, I'm gonna go with wedges. I haven't heard anyone yet. Yeah. Great. So the wedges, I have a half a beet. It goes down. I slant my knife. I cut. That shape is called diagonally. I can show you what those look like. I have wedges, right? And one of the things I try and do is make sure that all my veggies are on the same size. It doesn't always have to be perfect, but having your veggies around the same size will make the heat distribute more evenly and easier for cooking. You wouldn't want to have one beet that's like super, super cooked and one that's not cooked. So that's what we have, wedges, right? I'm seeing beets that have tops on. Those greens can actually be cooked at another time, but for this recipe, you only need the actual root, which is a beet. I decide I'm gonna try a few things. You can roast all your veggies together at once, or you can put your veggies at different dishes. Because these are super red, and I wouldn't want them to go and like have my potatoes get red as well. I'm gonna treat them separately so they go by themselves. So when you're making your veggie or prepping your veggies, you can think about two things: the hardness, so how hard that veggie is, the color as well. Do you want them to bleed into each other? You can also think about the size. So maybe three things. So I have my beets in here. I'll season those later on. I wanted to show you as well carrots. You guys probably have carrots. Do you have carrots in your boxes?
No.
What do you
They
have?
have squash, rutabaga, beets. I don't think do we have carrots, kids? I don't think we do. It was whatever was in the recipe.
No worries. Okay.
Yeah,
So
sweet
I have
potato, butternut squash, rutabaga, beets, and they may have carrots because carrots are in the recipe. Did you get carrots, kids? Yep. Okay, we're good.
Okay. All right.
We
So
have
if you have
carrots.
carrots,
Great.
so with carrots, oh my God, I love carrots, right? Pretty standard in terms of shape. Sometimes you have really big ones, have really tiny ones. So there are a few ways. You can definitely peel. I'm gonna reach over here and grab my peeler. A potato peeler or a veggie peeler is always handy. You wash it, you peel away from you to remove the skin, right? And who can tell me what you could do with the skin? Who remembers making stock last month, right? This would make delicious stock. So we're peeling away from us, right? And then there are a few ways. I've made discs or circles from my carrots. That's super easy. So you just cut through, all the way through to make some big, thick ones. I say thick because as they bake, they'll get smaller. You could also do like sticks, a carrot stick shape or wedges, so to speak. So there are a few ways you can do your carrots. The easier way is just to make some discs or circles. And so peel your carrots, they get cut and they're all together, right? We're not mixing our carrots and our beets.
We've got
Unless you like really orange or red carrots.
one question for you, Tamika.
Yes.
Question. So my mother, she doesn't really know how to like do beets. So like, how do you cut it or like open it?
Okay, so I don't have any more beets left. I just showed. So beets is a circle, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna wash it. You're gonna take your veggie peeler. And do you know how you peel probably, what fruit is this? I peel an orange this way. But I say peel according to the shape of the beet. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yeah.
So I use my last beet. So this is my beet. You're gonna peel around and remove all of the skin,
Okay.
right? And then you'll have some tops where those roots were, where those green parts were. You can cut that part off
Okay.
to make the top flat. And
Wait,
then
what about this pointy part right here?
you can get rid of that one too. Ooh, that's
Okay.
a beautiful beet. That's a beautiful beet. You're trying to make a circle that has a flat top. Does that make
All right.
sense?
Yeah.
Great question though.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
And I think maybe once you have that flat top, it makes it easier to cut. So if
And
you
won't
have,
run away from you.
yeah, if you have questions again at that point, just let us know.
Yeah. And what I like about veggies is that vegetables grow differently, just like humans. some are tall, some are short, some are thicker, some are thinner. So no two beets are alike, right? They're generally round. They usually have a pointy end. They usually have the tops where the beet greens came from, or the roots bottom. All right. So if
Tamika,
you're,
we have some comments that they're putting the grits in the water. Is that okay? So you might want to attend to that.
yeah, look at this advanced class. So if your water is boiling, I'm gonna have you measure your salt. It's gonna be a half teaspoon. I kind of know what a half is, so let's kind of take some my finger.
Hi. I'm saying I put the grits right in with the water, like without it boiling. I wasn't thinking. Is that no? No, should I say that again, please?
Evie, if you guys can put your questions into the chat, just because there's some difficulties with the internet there.
And you just need to stir those grits. If you've already got them in the water, it's important to give them a thorough stir so that they don't just kind of ball up. You want to give them a thorough stir, Evie, okay?
Okay, so we're gonna pause our veggie prep. Again, you guys are amazing. Again, go at your own pace. And we have our water in. I put my grits and my salt in. I have a whisk. It doesn't need to be a whisk. It just needs to be something that has space, like a fork is okay. And I'm gonna stir my grits. I'm doing two things. I'm distributing that salt right throughout the grits. But I'm also adding, I'm like waking up that starch because you want your grits to be creamy. And then three things actually. Nobody likes clumpy grits, right? Nobody wants to have a big wad of clumpy grits. So you're gonna stir. Once you see your grits start rapidly boiling, as mine is right now, you're gonna reduce your flame. I'm gonna put mine down to a 2. So big stir. It goes now from a boil to a simmer. How's that sound? So stir, stir, stir. Distribute all that salt, make it delicious. You know, weight that starch up so it's creamy, but also break up those grits pieces so they're not clumpy. If there are 2 people working on these recipes together, maybe one person, if it's okay with them, can stir the grits a few times. And what I'll do on my end, because my stove has a timer, maybe your cell phone has a timer, maybe somebody can time it for you, but it's usually good to have a timer going. I say put maybe 25 to 30 minutes on your timer, just to be aware that your grits are on so we don't forget. How about that? Right? And maybe 2 or 3 times in the next 20 minutes or so, we will go in and stir those grits. Now, again, it sounds like a lot, but I trust you guys. We have 2 things going on. Our grits are on the stove with our salt or water and the grits. You stir them up to make sure they're not clumpy, distribute that salt and to wake up that starch. Your
And we
lid goes
cover
on.
them, right, Tamika?
Your lid, exactly. Your lid goes on once you've done those 3 things. And you lower your flame, right? So you're looking, after boiling, you're looking for a nice simmer. You guys remember, a boil is like a shout, and a simmer is like an inside voice. So nice tight bubbles, not big loud bubbles. How's that sound? Thumbs up? All right, I love this
Mine
class.
looks like this.
Okay. That looks like it's been going for a little bit. May I suggest, Danielle, who said mine looks like this? I
I
missed
think it's Daniel.
Danielle, may I suggest you use maybe a fork or a whisk, something that has some space in between, so your grits can go in between.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
If you don't have a whisk like this, I'd say a
I
fork.
think, yeah, we have one.
Okay.
Can I whisk it? Which do I have to like mix it?
Okay. So this one. Right. It's already like
And if they're too thick, you can always add a bit more liquid.
Ideally, not cold, but hot or warm liquid. Or room
Oh.
temperature is fine.
It has to be dried.
I think it's kind of a little bit soft. So I don't know.
So can you use a tasting spoon and taste your grits? It looks super creamy from where I am. It's done when it's silky smooth. Have you ever had porridge or polenta? From here, it looks cooked to me. I'd say take a small spoon and taste it. Your palate is different, your texture is different.
This one.
Amazing job though. That looks good, Evie. Who else has their grits on?
This one.
I see folks breaking down veggies, being super safe. We have a busy kitchen tonight, right? There's a lot going on. At your own pace though, at your own pace.
Oh, somebody's got some in the oven.
Is the
Perfect.
rice fine?
The rice is fine.
We have a triple threat over here. Rice, veggies, and grits. All right. I'm gonna keep going. I see Brenda's hand. Could Gay or Alec take Brenda's question while I keep cutting veggies?
Yes, happy
Yeah.
to.
Question. So what are we supposed to put in the oven?
Okay, if your veggies are already chopped like mine are, I'm doing two things. My veggies are chopped, but for those who don't have their veggies ready yet, I'm also demonstrating. But if you have your veggies ready, right?
Almost. Another question. When you're cutting the turnip, do you want to like cut it into squares?
I'm about to show you right now. How about that?
Yeah.
So I took my rutabaga, I peeled her off, I'm about to call her, and I touched her with my beets. That's fine. They're friends. They like to hang out. Again, I cut the ends off to make a flat surface on both ends, right? And I went down the middle. And once I went down the middle, I wanted to get nice chunk sizes because I'm thinking about when I'm having my meal. I don't want pieces that are too big for my fork. So pretty much I call them discs, right? They were circles at first, I cut them halfway through. So rutabaga, peel down, ends off just like your beets to make two flat surfaces. Again, down the middle to achieve a half. And then down the middle to achieve a quarter. Remember, cooking is like math, right? You have math in cooking too. And then you cook all the way through. A few things. You want to be safe by holding your fingers back behind your knife. You also want to think about what size you've cut before and try and match them up. It's not always perfect. There's no perfection here. You're going to aim for similar sizes. That way they'll cook together. You won't have some that are too hard and some that are too soft. Right? So that's my rutabaga. I didn't wash my knife. It has beads, so it's completely fine. So I'm gonna move through because I think most people have been prepping their veggies. I see a butternut squash. That's a little bit harder to work with, but you guys are ready for the challenge. I say go in half with that one and then peel it slowly. There is a heart on the inside with seeds. I take a big spoon and scoop out those seeds and get rid of them. And then you start cutting them down. So any questions about the veggies, put in your chat. I'm gonna show you what I have. I have my carrots ready. I have my rutabaga, or turnips, some folks are calling it. So rutabaga is a cousin, right? Or is a split between it's a cabbage and a turnip. They got together and they just made a new thing, right? Super delicious. Maybe new to some folks. I also have broccoli. And then most of these are from what's called the brassica family. They're like grain looking, right? So cauliflower, broccoli, they kind of look like brains to me at least, right? They're like clumps of flowers or florets together. So very similar, broccoli and cauliflower. They roast very well. And so for my broccoli, I just like to break off the florets, just snap them off. And so, nature is pretty cool about making things somewhat symmetrical. So most of these florets are on the same size. If they're not, you put them in two. So that's my broccoli. I can snap them off. If you prefer to be a little bit more neat, you can just use your knife, remove that end, and you have these florets.
Tamika, one question for you. Kennedy, go ahead.
So can you explain how you cut the rutabaga?
You know what? I just learned something. I should have kept my rutabaga whole, but I'll still show you. So your rutabaga, can I see your shape? Because each veggie is shaped a little bit different. Wow, that's a beautiful round cylindrical, right? So if I were you, Kennedy, I would cut the top off the same way I did with my beets, right? In order to make a flat surface, because right now it's like rolling around. So cut the top and the bottom off, and then you get rid of
If I
those.
put it like this, it can only like twist. It doesn't roll around that much.
What will be a little bit easier is you remove the top, you get a flat surface, and that way you can hold it down, right? And then you can peel it with your veggie peeler. So because there's a cylindrical around, you can just peel around. Remove all that skin. Then once you have those two flat tops, I go down the middle to get 2 halves. And then I go down the middle again to get 4 quarters. How's that sound?
Right.
And you get a shape similar to this.
All right.
You can do it.
Yep.
I trust you. You got it. Thank you. Who else has like a shape they're working with? So he just love veggies. They're all so different. All right. Are we keeping an eye on our grits? My grits look great.
Evie, I know you've written in here about the squash. Squash are hard. I just typed that in, but just in case they are hard. So that is a ripe squash. It's just a very hard vegetable. And
Take your time with your squash. Again, you can use a half of the squash for now, but just like most other veggies, you start by getting them somewhat even on both sides or flat on both sides. And then use a veggie peeler. And just take your time and move through it, right? No rush here. You're all at your own pace. I'm gonna move into getting my veggies onto my tray. Yeah.
For what's the butter?
The butter is for the finishing of the grits. So you should have your butter hanging out nearby your grits for when you're done.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So, or veggies. All right, Team Elevate, you guys are doing pretty good. Again, the grits, you're just stirring them for the next 25 or so minutes. Every now and then you peep in there. If they look too clumpy, you check on them. They have liquid. I have a tasting spoon nearby. I don't think yours is anywhere near tasting yet, but who knows? Go ahead and taste for texture. You want it to taste almost what's called al dente. So you want a little bit of bite on your teeth. You're gonna feel it, right? But soft enough to just eat. If you're a toddler or a baby, you should be able to have your grits. So not super hard where you're chewing into it, right? It should have a creamy consistency. It only has a tad bit of salt just to wake up that natural yellow corn that already has a beautiful flavor. So it's not supposed to be salty. And the butter, that fat, makes it super rich and also more creamy. And so traditionally, grits are usually had in the South as a breakfast item. It's had as lunch item or dinner. So there's shrimp and grits that's super popular everywhere. In the Bahamas, which is a small island in the Caribbean that's near Florida, they have what's called fire engine. And fire engine refers to white grits and sausages, like a red and white combo as a fire engine. It's their national breakfast item. So grits are super common across the African diaspora. I see 2 hands.
Isra, you want to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the garlic for this?
Oh, you get some garlic. Again, you're gonna roast your garlic. So I have onions I prepped. Garlic are also great. I can go grab some and show you how to prep that. I didn't decide to put garlic in mine, but yum, yum, yum. Roasted garlic is delicious with your veggies. It can also be used in other dishes. So hold on to your question, Isel. I get that right? And then Brenda,
Thank
perhaps
you.
you ask your question. I'll do both of them at the same time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So my hands are like stained by the turnips. Will they come off easily or no?
It
Okay.
will. Soap and water. Soap and water.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Another trick is a little bit of oil and paper towel. The oil lifts up the color. But yeah, it'll go away.
Kennedy, you have a question. Go ahead.
Also, when do we add the salt and butter?
The salt should be in with your grits. So right after your water boiled, the salt went in and then the grits. If you haven't done that, it's okay to add it now. I just say once you add the salt, give it a nice stir. It's a half a teaspoon, okay? Thanks for asking. All right, if there are no other hands, I'm gonna start demonstrating how we season these veggies to get them into our oven for roasting.
Wait, can I ask one more question?
Go for it.
What's everything inside our bowl?
Like in my case, I have my veggies separated by hardness. So I have my carrots in one place. I have broccoli, you don't. You should have sweet potato, which I also have, and those are here. You should also have squash. Some folks are still working on that. You probably have a rutabaga in yours. You probably have beets in yours. I have beets as well. You probably have some carrots going. You have a head of garlic, which I'll grab some. Your box has probably rosemary. Mine has thyme, but very similar herb that has a vine with leaves and very fragrant. And then you should have salt and pepper and oil. So if you see me have veggies that look different from yours, I just grabbed a bunch of them so I can show you different types of veggies that could be roasted. All right.
Yeah, you really can work with any of the veggies you were provided that you want to work with.
Yeah. Again, the 3 top things to remember is we sort veggies according to their hardness. So would you put, pop quiz, would you put your carrots, say with your, I have, what do I have? I have green peppers. Do you think I should put my carrots and my green peppers in the same tray? Who thinks so? Yeah? Okay, I could, but I keep them separate because carrots are hard, right? They're crunchy, like, super crunchy. Well, green peppers can be had raw. I mean, they both can be had raw, but they're softer. Has more water content, has less. I'm chewing. I'm also gonna do something super fun. I'm gonna roast some tomatoes, right? Usually folks are like, oh, it sweetens the tomatoes. So almost every vegetable that you can find can be roasted in some way. So now I'll demonstrate how to prep your veggies for roasting. If you're still working, that's completely okay. I'm gonna go ahead just so I can have something to show at the end, right? So you should have a few things. You should have your olive oil. I put mine in a squeezy bottle. I got this from like the dollar store. I have my salt. Maybe your salt is in a container, like a jar or bottle, that's fine. I like to put mine in a bowl, the one I'm using, just so I can pick it up with my finger. I have black pepper. Mine is in this fancy brown thing, but maybe yours looks like a shaker. That's fine too. And so I have a bowl. I put all my veggies, the ones I'm using, I'd say separate each of them by the type and by the hardness. I put my oil, my salt, and then I put my pepper. And this is the fun part. My hands. I go in and I work them through. What am I trying to do here? I am trying to make sure that every single piece of my veggie gets some oil, gets some salt, and gets some pepper. And so I just work them through, and those should be good. So if they were like dry before, they should be nice and glossy and oily. They should have some pepper on them. They should have some salt on them. How's that? Just gonna dry my hand real quick. And so, to be fair, because we hadn't really talked about doing the veggies, you have a baking sheet ready. If not, that's completely okay. You can take your time and do this after. I'm gonna arrange my veggies on my baking sheet. And I'm saying arrange on purpose because the idea roasting is a dry heat treatment, right? It just means it's not boiling. There's no water involved. I haven't added any liquid or water to this, just oil. So the idea here is to keep them separated to avoid them from steaming. Because roasted veggies, when they're really done right, they should be soft on the inside, but caramelized, which means it gets brown on the outside. If they're too close together like this, they're gonna steam and get wet and soggy. So I like to say arrange your veggies with maybe, I don't know, half an inch or an inch between each of them. And so my rutabaga is down on one side. How's that? Again, take your time, watch, there's no hurry, right? So next I'm gonna put my carrots in because my carrots are somewhat as hard or very similar in terms of my rutabaga. So they go into my bowl. Again, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt. And this is not something you have to do, but I'll teach you a trick. Do you know Salt Bae, that guy on the internet who does this all the time? It's kind of funny. There's a point for him doing that. When you season your food like really close by, you can over season one piece. The farther away you go sometimes, you sprinkle across more evenly. So he's onto something. He's just trying to be funny. So he does this, but you get more surface area covered. So you put your salt, your oil, and your pepper. I know I'm going a little bit faster than usual, but trust me, you guys have this, right? So again, I work through my carrots, massaging them. Each piece needs to be covered with seasoning, and that goes down on my tray. I keep them separate just to make sure it doesn't steam up, right? It's nice and roasted. All right. What else? Oh, I have sweet potato. Again, very similar in hardness, similar in color. So you notice I put the white and then the orange one separately. It's okay if they bleed in color or they transfer, that's fine. But it's sometimes nice to keep things separate. That way you have that beautiful turnip-like color separate. Any questions? Have I lost you guys? I think you guys are right here. I see things being peeled, things being chopped, looking amazing. I see excellent dimensions, great sizing. I see whisking happening. Oh my gosh, what a busy night we're having. I'm gonna stop and stir my grits.
Mika,
Woo!
I'm seeing a question about what paper to use, and you don't have to have paper in your roasting dish. You know, I don't always use paper. I just put mine, I prepare the pan with some cooking oil and a paper towel or something like that.
Thank you so much for that question. So I did two things. My tomatoes that I actually use a Pyrex dish, like glass, oven safe glass dish. I have no paper here. My beets have no paper. The reason I use paper with this one, honestly, just for easy cleanup, right? It's called parchment paper, and it's just for easy cleanup. But as Gay says, you don't have to do it. You can do some spray on, some olive oil, or most pans these days are non-stick anyway, so it's completely okay to put your veggies right down. All right, so again, if you have two folks in the kitchen, one's the lead chef, one's the sous chef, and you should be stirring those grits. I'm gonna put my camera down on my grits just so you see what's happening here. We are definitely a busy kitchen tonight. Like, I can tell folks are like what they call order fire when you have several things going at the same time. So I'm stirring my grits. They're changing in consistency. They went from being like super grainy to being more creamy. Again, they're still simmering, just little bubbles in between. I'm gonna cover them up. I think I still have a few more minutes on that.
Tamika,
All right, I'm
we've
gonna
got
pause here. Yeah,
2 questions for you.
sure.
Is that Nisaraya?
Nice, Aria.
Yeah.
So when will you know when your grits are ready?
Great question. So we use two things. I think a few things, right? We use time, right? So I'm gonna say the recipe says 30 to 45 minutes. That's a range, that's a wide range because each person's stovetop is different. Maybe you put your grits directly in the water, maybe you put it on before. You're gonna use your hearing. So it goes from being like big bubble to being like super simmering. You're smelling, so you can smell that it went from like a raw, corny smell. But the most important are your eyes, right? They went from being like loose grains, yellow, separated, and dry to being creamy. The water was also absorbed.
Yeah.
So using our eye or observation. But the most important way to know is to do what? Taste it. Exactly. So you'll know when it's done. If your time has passed, it looks different, it smells different, and you go ahead and taste it.
My
If
mom
you've
already
done
did
it
this.
before, it should be somewhat similar to like cream of wheat or porridge or polenta. Like,
Hurry up, it's gonna drip through the daggone fork.
Tamika,
It's gonna drip.
yes.
I've been so busy typing. I don't know if you mentioned the garlic, but there was a question about the garlic, which
There was a question about the garlic. And if you can take the next question, I'm gonna go grab some garlic. I have onions. I'm gonna grab some garlic.
okay. So basically, the garlic is intended just to get, if you would like to get tossed in with your veggies and your salt and pepper and your rosemary, kind of just get tossed in all of that, or roasted. So depending on what Tamika has planned, that would be
Yeah.
typically what we'd be doing.
Thank you so much, Gay. My little toddler doesn't like garlic, so I usually try and avoid my roasted veggies. But I'll show you. If you have an entire head of garlic, a head is several cloves put together, an entire bulb. I'd say cut the top off. And just like this, you can put olive oil, salt, and pepper, and you could go in and roast. Or that might take a little bit longer. You can break that head into cloves. I use the back of my knife or the flat part, and I crush it. And then I remove the outside. And that goes into whatever I'm tossing, the carrots, and I put my salt, pepper, and my oil. So a few ways. It could go in whole. It will take a little bit longer. You'll have a head of roasted garlic. But if you remove each clove from the head, then you can squash it. So knife the heel off your hand, so to speak, and then you press down. That helps you remove the outside. So I did a few things just now. I'm gonna repeat it. I named what it's called. It's called a head of garlic. Each head has several cloves, depending on the side. You remove a clove and then you get that prepped to go into your roast. Does that cover your question? So I have a clove. All done.
Thank you, Tamika.
So you're welcome. I went ahead and put my veggies in. I'm doing roasted tomatoes as well, just because I'm making another recipe tomorrow. Usually when I have my oven on, I like to put like a bunch of veggies in there. Because again, roasted veggies is one of those things you should just have in your fridge as a side item, as a main dish. You can make like hash, if you have roasted potatoes, you can make a hash brown. There's so many ways you can use roasted veggies. So I'm gonna put a few things in the oven. So let's keep working. If you're breaking down veggies, go ahead. If you have questions, let me know. But again, are we keeping our eyes on our grits? I want to pause and say I love how busy, like all the movement, all the tasting. I see conversations happening. I see some like top class, like butchery happening. Like people are breaking veggies down like pros. You guys are doing amazing at doing 2 recipes, not 1, right? If you have questions, put them in the chat. If you had comments, you could raise your hand.
We've got 2 questions, Chef Tamika.
Yeah.
My question is, can I show you my grits?
Of course. I love seeing your products. Ooh, you have white rice. Okay. Have you tasted them? They look good from here. Have you tasted them?
I'll taste them now.
Okay. And this is where you can adjust seasoning. I'd say the salt we have was sufficient. The butter will add some more flavor. You want to go ahead and give them a nice stir.
Okay. Thank
What do
you.
you think? What do you think? Tell me. What does it taste like?
It tastes like butter every ingredient mixed up, but I taste the grits. It's my first time ever trying grits.
Amazing. What do you think?
It's good.
I think so too. I think you're spot on. It's pretty good. It's delicious.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's delicious. Nice work. Great effort.
Thank you.
Hey.
Tamika, we have a question about the rosemary and how to add the rosemary.
Oh my God. I'm so glad that Alex said at the beginning, how, not everybody's perfect. So that goes on your tray, right? It goes on your tray of your veggies. And so herbs adds flavor. It's fragrant, meaning that your veggies will like absorb the rosemary smell. If you have a chance right before it goes in, I have time, just break your rosemary and give it a little rub. So good, right? What do you think? If I'm not chopping it, you could, but it goes in whole and all that beautiful fragrance, your rutabaga, your potatoes with the heat will just absorb that beautiful aroma and make them tasty. It goes right in, very rustic. Right before you serve them, you pull them out. If you don't have whole ones, you could use like crushed or blend or dried herbs, and that could be sprinkled on. So thank you. I see some excellent arrangement of veggies on a tray. Beautiful. Any more questions?
Kenny, do you have a question?
Yes, you never answered my question about when should we add the butter.
Wait, the butter goes in. So Zale, did I get your name right?
Kennedy.
Kennedy.
I know you're asking a question. The person before you was finished with theirs. They say it tasted really good and buttery. It goes in towards the end, right? So the butter is supposed to go maybe the last few minutes. So once you've tasted your grits and they're tasting super yummy, you add that butter towards the end.
All right, thank you.
All right. So in terms of recipe, if you don't have the sheet out, that's completely fine. But it says you whisk the butter in until it's fully melted. So I have my butter. Ooh, that's not good. I have my piece of butter here, measured 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna go in. I want to show you my. It is pretty much done. And then I'm gonna take this stick of butter, which is 2 tablespoons I measured. It goes on top, and then I whisk it in. I whisk it in to melt it, but all that fat, so butter is fat. I know that word can be like misunderstood sometimes, but oils and butter, ghee, these things are fat in the food world. What it does, it goes in and softens up that beautiful grits, but also fat carries flavor. So it wakes the flavor in the grits, a nice corny taste. It's awakened or lifted up with the fat. If you want to do 2 things, you could try it before the butter and after the butter and do it before and after and see how it tastes. It should taste delicious anyway, but the butter should really add some beautiful flavor to it. I'm gonna taste mine. To be fair, the one I put on just now, it's still cooking. It started these before class, but I wanted to show you what it looked like at the end. So don't be alarmed if yours is not ready. I know we're about to be near time. I do want to say we did a lot tonight, right? There's a lot of activities happening. There was prepping of veggies, there was sorting of veggies, there was peeling, there was chopping, and you were doing great. So again, everybody's kitchen is a little bit different. Your space, your time, your pace. Every vegetable is different. Some are really round and thick, some are smaller. Your stovetop's different from mine. So don't think that by 7:30 you should have everything perfect and ready. What you should have had is fun and also learned a few things together. Ooh, you guys are fancy over there. It could be shrimp, it could be cheese, it could be the roasted veggies on top. It could be an egg for breakfast. It could have been any breakfast meat that you like. So lots of options for your grits. I'm gonna put a plate down. But before we wrap up, I do want to say again, grits are, this is a very Southern style. Different folks make grits in very different way. There is a group of folks in South Carolina called the Gullah Geechee people. They're formerly enslaved folks, but also they have an amazing culture. So the rice you have is called Carolina Gold rice. You guys receive top quality American made rice, right? It's super important to our American culture. That rice is only found in the Carolinas and only in America. There are two kinds of rice in the world, rice from West Africa and rice from Asia. And folks brought over a rice variety from West Africa, but they perfected it here in America to make Southern Carolina Gold rice. So enjoy it. It should be delicious. It's a little bit more yellow than the rice you see in the store, hence the name Gold. But it's a beautiful rice to have, especially during Black History Month. Judy, thank those farmers who worked on our behalf many years ago to make amazing food for us. So can we see what folks have who's still working? Candy's hand is up. Yeah.
Is it okay that I minced my garlic?
It's okay that you minced your garlic. Taste is very personal. And I love how you asserted that that's how you like yours. It's okay that you minced your garlic. So whole garlic, minced garlic, braised garlic, crushed garlic, whatever works for your palate is perfect. Great
That's
question.
how I always do it, Kennedy, so don't worry.
Do you want to show this?
Yeah. Does that look right?
It's looking right. I add a little
Yeah.
bit more liquid to it.
Okay.
And if it's on the flame still, I'd pull it from the flame because I'm seeing some sticking pieces. But it's right on the path. You want to taste it, Kennedy, and tell me what you think?
All right.
Yeah. Who else can show me some grits? I'm putting mine in a bowl.
Oh, those look fabulous.
Wow.
Perfect. Oh my
They're really-
God.
They look delicious. Well done, guys.
I want to show you my consistency. So it sits on my spoon. If I pour it, it takes a little time to drop. So it's like super thick. It's not soupy. It's more of the porridge consistency. Super hot. When it cools down, it thickens. Even though grits are delicious and amazing, they don't hold very well, but they're great to make right before you serve them. If you have leftovers, I'd say in the refrigerator, in the microwave, that's fine. Maybe add a little bit of water or stock just to wake it up and to liquefy it some more. If I were to serve this, I'd do a bowl of grits, maybe some veggies on top, some cheese on top if you like it, an egg on top, whatever you like on top of your veggies. Sorry, your grits.
I even put a little cream in there and stir them when I heat them up again the next day. So a little bit of milk or a little bit of cream, whatever you have.
Yum, yum, yum. I see a question. How long do you cook the veggies? So if you have, you know, there's a question out there in the world. I get back to the brown sugar. The veggies should take between 35 to 45 minutes. Again, because every vegetable is so unique, they're made in nature. They're not made in a factory anywhere. They're not perfect. So you may have a really thick beet. You may have a really hard squash. Your taste test is to use a fork. It should be able to be cut through. You also want to have some brown bits, so it's caramelized and then soft on the inside. So ideally 35 to 45 minutes. Some things can take an hour, some things can take less. So your green peppers may take 10 minutes or 15 minutes. What you want to do is pay attention, check in. I say turn your veggies around halfway through the time, just to expose them to all the heat, and just keep testing and tasting them safely with an adult. Can we have a grits show and tell? I've heard that some folks like brown sugar, so one savory, which is like salt or cheese or meat, and one sweet, which is supposed to put sugar on their grits. There's no wrong, there's no right. It's all about personal preference. I just go a little bit light on the sugar. Right, I'm gonna show my grits. What do you guys have? Whoa, a little bit too bright. I'm gonna go with this camera. So I have my grits here. I'm gonna grab some cheese. I can also put some fresh herbs on top, so I can put some thyme. So I have my grits here. That's dinner for tonight for me. May see what folks have for grits.
The fun part about grits is you can do so much with them depending on what you like.
Yeah, it's a base,
But
right?
yeah, it's just a base. You can saute some mushrooms and onions and toss them in there. You can put
If it's
green
very
chilies
liquidy.
in.
Sorry, Gabe. If it's
Yeah,
very
no, I was
liquidy,
just saying, so great.
it should cook longer. But also when you turn your flame off and cover that, it absorbs that moisture. So liquidy means there's water. So once you can taste it and it's cooked all the way through, I'd say remove it from the flame, cover it and give it a few minutes, 5 minutes or so to absorb that extra liquid once it's cooked. If it's too dry, you add more liquid. May I see your plates? Okay, I see grits with like a side item. That looks great. You guys are rock stars.
Excuse me,
Yes.
mine is ready.
Oh, yours is very ready.
That
Oh
looks
my gosh.
beautiful.
Roasted veggies and grits. Looks amazing. Congrats. Good work.
Oh, I see some more over there. That looks beautiful.
That
Who's
looks
down in the corner,
beautiful.
Mallory?
And it's ready.
Looks great.
Oh, that looks great. Kai, that looks really good. Yum. Look, that butter is melting
Whisk
away.
that butter in.
Mix it on in.
I see veggies being stirred. Amazing. Tossing them around to expose them. I see veggies going into the oven.
Oh, there we
pending.
go. There's Jack's. Yep. Oh, is that with shrimp? Did you put shrimp on top? I can't quite see. Yeah. Oh, yum. I love it.
You guys should be so proud of yourself. I am proud of you. We did 2 recipes in 1
Good,
hour.
good, good.
I see dinner being had.
Hi, our kids got hungry, so they started eating the grits. Say, Stella, how delicious is the grits? 2 thumbs?
Amazing. Thank you. I know we're right at time. As usual, I'm so grateful for you guys for showing up fully, for listening, for trying on new things, new flavors. Again, if you're not quite finished, that's completely okay. But I think the best part of food is to have with your family or your friends, right? Whoever you have around you becomes your family when you're having food. So enjoy it. If grits is new to you, do some research on grits to see where it comes from and how important it is to American culture. And Black American culture is American culture. And again, roasted veggies, one of those staples that you have in your pocket that you can do anytime you need a quick way to like eat veggies that are delicious. So thank you guys for showing up fully, for trying something new. You guys look amazing. I'm always grateful to be here with you. I see folks walking away with their food. Look at that, you're done. Dinner is served. If your oven is still on, pay attention and make sure you turn it off before you go away, okay guys? Alex, over to you. Thank you so much.
Great work, everybody. Round of applause for themselves and for Chef Tamika. Well done. Amazing work. That was not easy. That is multitasking at its finest. 2 recipes in 1 today. I think Tamika said it all. I hope everybody enjoys their meal, enjoys it with their family, and we are looking forward to seeing you all either outside soon or next month for our next EAT class. So enjoy. Please send us pictures. We'd love to see your grits and veggies, and we will all see you soon. Thank you.
Bye.